Welcome everybody to this edition of Morning Coffee. It's Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's RVN Television. My name is Joe Osamendi, and this is my guest host here, Keith Reynolds.
No, I'm actually Alcini this morning.
Okay, but that's not important. Important is the person we have right next to us, and that's Bogdan Pop, who's the president and owner of Transylvania Concrete Coatings, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Welcome to Morning Coffee.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Well, you know, everybody thinks about concrete coatings as basically an epoxy type of material. Can you distinguish? And you use a polyurethane, right?
Yes. So it's a little different material that we use. Epoxy has been around for a very, very long time. And when we talk about concrete coatings, most of the people, they say epoxy. They call them epoxy because it's just they've been around for a long time. Ours, they're polyureas. They're derived out of urethanes. So they're a little bit different. And the biggest difference between them is that we can use them in different type of weather. When epoxy, you cannot use them on when it's cold outside. Under 40 degrees, usually they say you cannot use epoxy, right? So this, actually, we can go into the minus temperatures to use them, and they can be put outside even in an environment like New Jersey when the temperature drops to 10 degrees sometimes in the winter. So the reason I'm saying that is because what happens, right? Concrete shrinks in the winter. When it's very, very cold, concrete will shrink a little bit. And then when it's very, very hot, concrete will expand. What happens with epoxy is that it's so brittle that it will not move with the concrete. So what happens is concrete will shrink and epoxy will stay the same, and what happens, you're going to have delamination, unfortunately. That's why, that's the biggest difference, I would say.
Okay. And the installation time is different.
Oh yeah,
right?
The installation, each coat of epoxy takes at least minimum of 24 hours to cure. When our product, it's about an hour to an hour and a half, depends on temperature and humidity outside.
You know, it's crazy. You know, you go into those home centers, you know, and you know a lot of the places that these people put them is below 40. It's below 40 degrees.
Yes, and that's why they have failure. A lot of times that's why he fails, and they don't know why he failed. They blame the contractor, which most of the time contractor is not necessarily its fault. He just should have suggested, hey, epoxy is not good for this environment. Epoxies, they're great. We use them in commercial applications all the time. You just need to know where to use them and what the limitations are. That's all. And for our New Jersey customers especially, right, we do have winters here. We're not in Florida, right?
Right.
Unfortunately. Yeah. So we do suggest, especially in the garages, we do a lot of garages, right? We do suggest that we use these products because, one, we do it in one day compared to 3 days, right? So you're back in your garage in one day. But also the temperature drops in the winter. The garages are not heated, right? You're not allowed to heat them in New Jersey, or you pay taxes for them.
Absolutely.
if they're heated. So that's why the temperature of the slab will drop in the winter, and you will have a failure of epoxy. And with our coatings, you get a 15-year warranty that's not going to happen.
How about maintenance?
It's pretty much maintenance free. If you have a broom or a hose, you want to give it a quick wash, that's all it is. You have a blower, your leaf blower in your garage, and you want to blow the sand off. It's very easy. It's a no-brainer with it.
So Bogdan, look, you know, you talk about cleaning, right?
Sure.
So look, I think everybody in the world over the last year and a half, 2 years, you know, germs, viruses, stuff like that. Talk about how safe it is for your floors.
So this is very, very safe, actually. These coatings, the polyaspartic that we put on top as a protective coating, it's actually an antimicrobial, antibacterial, meaning it's non-porous. Nothing will penetrate it. Anything that falls on it, it will stay on top. So if bacteria cannot penetrate, it will just get cleaned off right away. So there's nothing that sits on inside the pores. There's no pores to it.
Right. So that means mold can't grow on it?
No.
So these are, you know, I think a lot of people going into home stores look at this and say this is for a garage, but it's for many more places, right?
Anywhere that you have concrete, and let's talk about those basements.
Yep.
I mean, who doesn't have mold in a basement?
Absolutely.
It's very hard to keep up with it, right? And you're putting the carpet down there, or you're putting the floating floor, a laminate or a vinyl, and you're always going to grow mold under it, and you don't even know about it, right? So that's why our coatings, they adhere to the concrete, that there's no mold growing in them. So it's very safe. You have kids running around the basement, maybe you have a man cave over there, right?
Joey.
Joey, there you go. So it's very easy to maintain, and you don't have to worry about mold whatsoever. Your water heater breaks. What are you gonna do with a carpet? You're gonna have to toss it, right? Or your water heater breaks and you have a laminate down there, it's gone.
Right.
With this, you take a mop, and just mop it up, and pretty
know
much you
what?
gave a good clean to the floor.
I almost wonder if it gives you an insurance break. You know what I mean? Like security, right? You have a house.
Yeah.
So, you put this floor down, the insurance company is saying, well, wait a minute, we're never going to have to pay mold damage or nothing like that. So it's,
I mean, actually, it's a good point. I never thought about it.
Right.
wow.
It's a great point.
I think you just get it done just for insurance purposes, because really it's almost like you should have this product. You buy a home and you have a concrete basement, it's almost like you should put this in there and say, hey, insurance company, give me a break on this, because you know what, I'm never going to grow mold. You're never going to have that complaint. Or
It's a very, very good point, actually. I never thought about it. But yeah, it might play that way. We've been doing basements, and actually this is our basement season.
Okay.
And we're starting to do a lot of basements because we're going to winter and fall, right? A lot of rain outside, so we're trying to move into the basement. And I mean, the basements look amazing. When we're done with them, people can't believe it. And especially majority of them we're doing in one day. Depends on the size and the scope of work. Sometimes 2 days. But when we're done, I mean, people are amazed. Like, wow, what just happened, right? It's a very, very good practical product that, for me, I don't see anything better in a basement floor, actually, than this product.
now you have a couple different styles or different text or colors. Is it
Colors,
basically color codes?
So
or-
our evolution system, that is the chip system, we have about 18 colors, different variations of colors, and we do custom colors. So if you're a Eagles fan or a Giants fan, oh, I stepped on, on something here.
Warren's a Giants fan.
You can have custom colors done. We can put a nice logo of your favorite team or
Wow.
a favorite car,
Really?
or we can embed it into the
Very
floor,
cool,
and
very
we
cool.
seal it down. So
And
if
you
you have
seal
a
it
man
down.
cave over there that your friends come over and watch the games, we can put the logos down. Actually, they look really, really nice.
And
There you
can
go,
use these,
Joey.
for instance, for pools, right? For pool patio, stuff like
Oh,
that?
yes. So this, because we can use them outside
Right,
in an environment, we do a lot of pool decks actually in the summer, in the spring, and a lot of patios and walkways, and they look amazing. And they do not transfer heat. So you know how hot the concrete is in
Yes,
the summer, that your
absolutely.
kids jump around
Right. Yep.
because it's burning their feet. What happens? This coating actually dissipates the heat, so it's a little bit cooler to the feet than a regular concrete, which is a great thing.
Do you have to put some type of grit to it for?
Yes. So
Yeah.
So these coatings are very slippery.
Okay.
So if what we do is we put an aluminum oxide into the top coat, and also we put it's called a 30 mesh sand that we mix with our top coat. So we make it a little bit like a sandpaperish feel. So it's not slippery
the
when
attraction,
wet.
yeah.
Obviously everything when
Everything's
it's
slippery
wet,
when wet.
it's a little bit slippery, so you got to be used with caution.
Absolutely.
But yes, it's we put that anti-slip in it, and it helps tremendously.
If you're going to use it for kennel application also, because concrete's porous, right?
Very porous.
So what
yes.
happens if you don't have a coating over there, you're going to get smells that stay in there, right?
So yes, it's very hard to keep a kennel clean because all the the chemicals and dogs urinating on it, it gets embedded in the concrete being porous. So these coatings actually, they've been used in the kennels for a very long time. What happens is you clean it and actually nothing penetrates it. So
Right.
once it's clean, there's no more smell. With concrete, you can clean it every 5 minutes, still have the smell because it's embedded in there. So actually, it's a good point you brought this up. We're doing a floor for AWA.
Yep.
We partner with them actually on a few things. and they're building their new building right now. So we're actually going to do the floors in the new building, which it's the way they do it. I mean, I gotta give it to them. It's a hotel for dogs.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
They didn't spare anything on doing everything they can for dogs and cats and for animals to make them feel good. I mean, the kennels you'll see, guys, when it's done.
Yeah, well, you know what,
It's
dogs
amazing.
are, animals are very stressed out when they go into those kennels, so
Yes.
it's very important. We were in the green room talking about DIYers. So
Yeah.
I just want you to briefly break down, for those people, you're going out this weekend, and maybe this might be one of your projects. I want you to break down, talk about the etcher, talk about those DIY products at the home centers. And
So I don't want to badmouth.
yeah, you don't want to, we're not bad mouthing.
So
It's just,
I don't want to say anything bad about it, but everything that is out there has its purpose, right?
yes, absolutely.
So those DIYers, they might be good for something. I don't know for what.
Right.
But there's a couple problems with those. One is the ability of a homeowner to prep the floor right before you apply the product. So what we use a 800-pound machines, and we actually grind the floor with metal diamonds. We grind the floor and we open the pores of the concrete. And why we do that? Because when we apply our product, we want to have a surface that it can grab to. So you can see actually after we grind the concrete, you can see those scratches in the concrete, like very deep scratches. So when we apply our product, it really grabs on the concrete. Oh well, as a homeowner, they give you in those packages, I believe so, in those packages from Lowe's and Home Depot, they give you an etcher, which is an acid.
Right.
To put on the floor. So that will clean the floor a little bit and will open the pores of the floor. But a couple things happen. When you do that, you're actually weakening the concrete on top, unfortunately. And a lot of people, they don't understand that they put an acid on the floor and they do not neutralize that. And that acid stays in the floor, you put your product right away over it, and that acid will just actually eat your product.
So eventually eat your piece.
Yeah. So you have to neutralize it, and then you put water, but it's not the right prep to do. That's why those chemicals, they come right up. I mean, the first time you park your car on it, you can see where the tires went because it's picking them up right away. So to be honest, when we go and we do garages, a lot of garages is about, I would say, 40 to 45% of our jobs removing those DIY coatings.
Okay.
And people do it like a month before or a year before, and they're gone.
Yeah. I mean, look, I you know what, as I get older, my honey to-do list is shortened because, you know what, I say, hey, I don't have time, and I want to enjoy my time, right?
Sure.
So you have to start letting the professionals come in and do these things. I mean, the cost savings of, going out, doing it, and then having you have to come back in, and then the time, they got to be saving like 30-40%.
At least.
At
So
least.
let's put it this way. I'll do it even better. How many times you will do that in 15 years? Because 15 years is our warranty.
Right.
You'll do that probably 3 or 4 times.
I would
what?
say even more. If you like your floor to look good all the time, I'm telling you, you'll do it more than 3 or 4 times in 15 years.
Yeah, and that's probably, honestly, for your time, that's one thing, which is value, right? And then you're going to probably spend about $800 to get to get that thing. So
You're
800 times 6, so you're almost $10,000, $12,000.
Like with
That's
your
insane.
time included, you're going to it's not worth it. Believe me.
It's not worth it.
And this floor, we guarantee that for 15 years will not peel, chip, or delaminate.
Right.
And we give it to you in writing. And actually, it's not just us, because some people will say, "Oh, who's Transylvania?"
Right.
Oh, well, we're backed by our manufacturer, which is Pentec Industrial Coatings out of Minnesota, and they back us up on it.
That's good. We're going to take a break right now.
Sure.
When we come back, we're actually going to have a video about how the application works too. So
Yeah, that will be great, and I'll try to explain how everything it's being done.
Great. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Sure.
Concrete Coatings installs premium surface coatings for outdoor and indoor spaces. Enhance the durability and appearance of your home with a superior product that is long-lasting and low maintenance. Customized for any environment with a vast selection of colors and textures. And our advanced design provides superior strength that holds up to heavy impact and changes in weather. You'll be 100% satisfied with one-day concrete floor coatings. Get $500 off any new basement today.
Well, welcome back to Morning Coffee. I'm Joe Osmendi, your host. Guest host here is Keith Reynolds. And our special guest here is Bogdan Pop, who's president of Transylvania Concrete Coatings. And, you know, Bogdan, we just looked at, during the break there, we actually saw how the application goes. And that's gorgeous.
I mean, if you see the truck we're pulling in, right? We don't use anything from your house. We don't use your electric. We have everything we need in the truck. Mm-hmm. Our vacuums, our grinders, our generator, right? So we pull in and we go right to work. So we get to your house probably around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we talk to you. We explain, hey, this is what we're going to do. Here are the colors that you chose, and we go right to work. And as you see, the garage was empty, mm-hmm. right? But they still kept stuff on the walls.
Right.
And we do not make a lot of dust. Sometimes we make a little bit of dust, but you see, we use OSHA-approved HEPA
right.
vacuums,
Right.
which collect 99% of the dust. And that's why you're able to keep your stuff on the walls. We just need the floor clear and about, approximately 2 foot off the floor. Mm-hmm. We come in and you saw that big monster of a machine that
right.
we carry around. It's about a 800-pound machine that puts a lot of pressure on that floor. So we really grind off the floor, and we remove the top surface of the concrete, and we prep it and we profile it. We call it, we give it a profile so our base coat can adhere to it. And as you see, after we're done, we vacuum it very, very, very good, because dust, it's no good actually on the floor. And we apply the base coat, which is a polyurea base coat, and in which we throw the chips. We broadcast, we feed the chickens, right? We throw the chips to rejection. We actually over broadcast to make sure that we cover it completely. About an hour and a half, we come back and the floor is cured. Mm-hmm. What we do is we remove the extra chips and we cut them down with those scrapers. We scrape them off, we collect them, and now we vacuum, and now we apply the top coat, which seals everything in. So the top coat, it's a clear top coat. It's a polyaspartic. It's an aliphatic chemical actually. It's a UV stable chemical, and it goes on top of your chips, on the chips, and it locks everything down. So that's your protective coating. That is the one that it's antimicrobial, antibacterial, right? It's UV stable. It's scratch resistant. It's hot tire resistant, meaning you're just doing a couple donuts in front of your neighbors, right, with your car, and you pull right in your garage. The tires are scorching hot. Oh well, this is resisting to that. It will not pull it off.
Or if you're running from the cops, Joe.
Yes.
You
Either or.
make a quick stop in your garage.
Yes, exactly.
Shut the door.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Boy.
anyhow.
I like this product, Joe. I love this product.
Well, you're located in Blackwood, New Jersey, right?
Yes.
How big of an area do you cover?
So we cover all South Jersey, and we do go into Central Jersey, into Ocean County and Monmouth County.
Okay.
and we do go into Mercer too, around Trenton area.
Okay, and you do residential, and
Yes.
you do commercial, and you do industrial, right?
Yes, we do residential, commercial, industrial. This is our residential division, and we use this coatings exclusively for our residential division. On commercial, we use a lot of other coatings.
Okay.
It's the world is very big when it comes to coatings.
Yeah. Okay.
So you use a coating depending on the application.
Correct.
Right?
I mean, you got to use the right coating.
Right.
The same way that you got to put the right tires. Depends if you're going on a snow or you're running from the cops, right? You have to have
go.
different tires on your car.
He knows you very well now.
You know, this is a great product. It has unlimited applications, by the way.
When it comes to concrete, so I just want to make sure that everybody understands,
Right.
it can only go to concrete.
Okay, yeah, man, it's a very good point.
Yes.
How did you get in this business? I mean, you know, it's such a unique product.
So, it is a unique product. So we started the business in 2006, and we're doing all kind of floors from tile to hardwood to LVT on a commercial basis, right? So we started doing polished concrete and coatings on an industrial basis, and when we really work with these coatings with polyurea and polyaspartic on a commercial basis, and about 2 years ago, I was like, this is great for residential. I mean, residential, like homeowners, they don't want to have access to this.
Right.
And there's other companies around us that do epoxies, and they do a great job. There's no question about it. But they don't do this. And I'm like, who wouldn't want to do this? I mean, I do it in one day. You don't have to put up with me for 3 days or 4 days. That's one advantage. Second advantage, these are UV stable. I can do them outside. There's no limitations with them when it comes to putting them on concrete. So to me, it was a no-brainer to bring this to the residential market and really help a lot of homeowners. I mean, on the hundreds and hundreds of jobs, if not thousands already, I think for the last 2 years we're doing residential. I mean, the reviews that we have, if you look us up on Google and Facebook, I mean, you'll see right away.
We do have a question from one of our social feeds. Mary from Maryland said, you know, do you have to have the multicolors? Can you make it like one color?
So yes, we can make them in one color. The chips we can do it in one color if you really want one color. But in my opinion, it looks much better when it's a couple colors in there,
Right.
2-3 colors. It looks fantastic. But yes, we can do it in one color.
There you go, Mary. One color.
And one of the things I think that should be emphasized is it's not an expense. This is an investment.
Oh, it's definitely an investment. I mean, if you break this down for 15 years,
Right.
I mean, what is it, a cup of coffee a day?
Yep.
And
Approximately.
one thing I really love about it is the seamless application.
Oh, yeah,
You're
it's
talking
seamless.
about a day, not 3 or 4 days being tied up and be able to use it outside.
Oh yes,
No time.
It's great. Again, we're coming. We're doing it in one day, so you don't have to wait for us 3-4 days to put your stuff back in the garage, or rent, I don't know, pods and whatnot. I mean, you have stuff in your garage that you don't want to leave outside overnight.
Right.
Maybe like you can. What we tell people is rent a U-Haul truck.
Right.
It's the cheapest way. You rent a U-Haul truck. It's right there with you. You put your stuff back in the garage the next day and you take it back.
Take it back. Yep.
It's much cheaper than having a pod delivered to you or some kind of storage.
And one thing I like about your product especially is the applications can be just anything, any place where you want to have a sealed floor and you want it to be beautiful.
Anywhere
This is a perfect product.
Pool decks, patios. I mean, patios and steps, they look phenomenal.
Right.
If you go around our Facebook page and you see a lot of posts that we did over the summer with what we were doing, I mean, you see those steps and patios, they look amazing. They really do. The pool decks, I mean, it's a very nice floor, very versatile.
Very cool.
And I really like the idea of their antibacterial. That is so special right now, especially with the climate.
The
right now.
yes, it's so. I know we were working. I think it was a year ago. We were working in Atlantic City, and we were doing this restaurant. And I don't know if your viewers know Atlantic City Health Department. It's very tough.
Yes.
on business owners, on restaurants. And a lot of them, they have tile and whatever floors you put in a kitchen, in a commercial kitchen. And there's always in a corner especially, you have all kind of dirt stays there in a grout joints. And when we put this type of floor down, I mean, they had no problems. I mean, the health department started actually suggesting these floors to other business owners because this is they were saying this is what we want to see on the floor.
And I can contest to that. I'll tell you why. Back in my day, one of my first jobs was at Rustler Steakhouse, and they had grouted floors in the area. And every night we had to use bleach and Tide to scrub them, right?
Oh, man.
You have this product down, now you're just hot hosing it out versus all the chemicals.
It's a no-brainer.
Because you always had that dumb kid that would mix bleach and ammonia and cause poisonous gas, and we would have to empty the restaurant.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's crazy, but
It is.
that's great.
And
great.
It's a great product. I mean, health department loves it.
Okay. So where can we find all this information? And then you have some events coming up too.
So yes, you can find us on Facebook at Transylvania Concrete Coatings, and you can find us on our website, which is onedayfloors.com, and you find a ton of information we have over there. And also you can you can find us actually in Voorhees. We have an upcoming trade show. I believe it's at the 8th and the 9th of October. We'll have a booth over there, and we'll be there with we'll bring a machine also. You can see the machine that we're using, and we'll give you a lot of information. And actually, I believe we have a major discount right now that we give a $500 off for anybody that stops at our booth for upcoming projects that they want to use, especially for basements. Like I said, it's the season for basements right now.
Okay.
And this is basically it's priced on square foot basis, right?
Yes, this is a price on a square foot base, and the reason, and I'm going to touch on the subject if you don't mind a little bit. We have a lot of phone calls, right? And they say, well, why don't you just give me a price? Just tell me a ballpark over the phone. It might sound that it's easy, but it's not actually.
Right.
There's so many contributing factors that influence our price, and one obviously is the size, which is the easiest, right? How big your floor is, and that's easy to determine. But there's a couple other ones. It's accessibility, especially in basements. What kind of machine we can bring over there?
Right.
What kind of equipment we need to bring over there? We need to bring some air filters, right? Air scrubbers, because it's a closed environment. Depends of the moisture of your concrete. So you might have moisture in a concrete, which what we're talking about is not water coming from the top, water pushing. So it's hydrostatic moisture, water pushing
People
up.
in Mount Laurel, the low water table.
So yes, so what we do is we actually, every floor that we go out to look at, we do a moisture test. We have a moisture tester that tells us what's the moisture content in your floor. So if you have a very high moisture content, we have to apply a moisture barrier before we do that. So that's very important, because otherwise I can put the floor down, and in 1-2 years, maybe 6 months, that floor is going to start coming up because the moisture is pushing it up. We have to do a hardness test. So believe it or not every concrete that we encounter we can coat. If it's very, very soft, we don't want to put our coating because we cannot warranty it. So then we're just going to walk away from it, and we'll make a suggestion.
Or get another concrete floor put in, and then you can do it in 28 days, right?
Correct. So it takes about 28 days for a concrete to fully cure, so we can put our coating down. So that's why it's very important for us to go and put a set of eyes on your floor and really see what's going on, so we can give you an estimate, an accurate estimate. And once we give you that price in writing, there's no going back and forth, not with us.
Okay, very good. So Bogdan, we have to go take a commercial break.
Sure.
I do have one question. Did you ever find bodies in the basement when you were going there?
A couple, but I haven't been in his basement yet.
You're going to be really shocked. We're going to be right back with more morning coffee right after this.
Right. Thank you.